Welcome everyone. It's time for more The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante, where last time the suffering came to an end, because I died my final death. And, well, I possibly could have avoided it. I should possibly have understood that challenging the Arcanian in court would actually be fatal to myself, but I kind of thought that, you know what, we are in a courtroom, there are gendarmes there, but apparently they were unable to help me. So I died my final death. Or true death, maybe I should say. Now the game, in a story-like manner, gave me the option of resetting the chapter, which I would have done anyways, but it's kind of nice that the game did it in a story-like manner. So I replayed everything, so to speak, did it the same way as I had previously done it, up to the point where it was the special event when I reached Justice of 8, where I had the noble and the commoner, the noble who had torched the commoner's jewelry store. And instead of siding with the noble, I sided with the commoners. Now, I don't know if that particular event was the downfall of me, but a lot of stuff happened after that. My mother is dead, Gloria has left, my career is in the toilet, our family is disgraced, everything has really gotten bad, like really bad. Now, with that said, my justice is down to 7, by the way, because obviously I lost a whole bunch of justice at some point. I actually don't remember now. We are still on track to do Otton is sentenced, which we kind of do want to, but at this point we're sacrificing a lot. Branded by dishonor, indeed. It doesn't actually say all of the stuff. Octavia has become Alatari, which is super weird. Mother, indeed, died, etc, etc. But Thomas got married, so that's all cool. But yes, indeed, we are in troubled times. We're still at the age of 26, year 1144, same as when I began the last episode, so we haven't really progressed year-wise, but at the end of the last episode there were a lot of special events, and I just wanted to make sure that I did all of those before ending the episode. So I shouldn't think that there is a lot more left to do this year, which means that we have like one year to go before this is resolved. But alright then, repentance. The last few months have been marked by a welcome absence of quarreling at the Brante estate. The only concern these days is the price you have to pay for this peace. I mean, all the women folk is gone, so of course there's peace. Today you come home late, wrung dry after a day of work and worry. Everyone is sound asleep. You are making your way to your bedroom when you hear a suspicious noise coming from Father's study. It is too late for Father to be working. I hope it aren't interrupting his private time. We'll see. You go to the door of the study, trying to tread softly and turn a knob. The room is brightly lit by the moon. You recognize your brother's clumsy silhouette above Father's desk in the moonlight. Nathan hears you come in and leaps to the side in fear. You see something glinting in his hands. Father's dagger. Oh, Nathan, what are you doing now? Oh, Chris, it's you. Shush, I just took the dagger for a moment. Don't worry, I know holding a weapon's against my lot. I don't mean anyone any harm. It's for me, actually. I just have to go to the twins. Oh, you're gonna kill yourself. That's not good. Your younger brother clumsily turns the dagger around, holding it against his own body. You try to remain still. Nathan wants to take one of his own lives, but why? And he says, I'm not even sure how to say it, brother. I just can't find a place in this world. I'm always an outsider, always a waste of space. Isn't there some place for me in the twins' design? I can't stop thinking about it. I do wonder if you can avoid this for him. Like, there are events early on, after he's born, where you can sort of be with him more. I do wonder if you can avoid this. That's something I'm definitely going to try at some point, yes. He continues, I've been trying to understand them for so long. How am I supposed to live in their world? What's my place in their great plan? But I've only made things worse. I meddled with the Markian sect, defied and rejected my lot, I indulged in vice, but I found nothing there. The old faith, the new faith, Father Mark's heresy. They gave me all sorts of answers, but none of them worked. There's nothing else left for me now. I got to go see the twins myself and ask them. I know I'm an affront to their plan just because I'm alive, but I'll repent, I'll pray for their forgiveness. But the twins never forgive, you tell Nathan softly. They never have, and they never will. You will be judged in the hereafter for every false step you take. Your younger brother sighs heavily. I know. Mother taught us that all our lives, but I still have to try. There's no other way. One of my lives isn't too big a price if it works. I can't find any use for them anyway. See you soon, brother. Hope I'll be different when I come back. A cloud passes over the moon. Father's study grows dark, illuminated only by the shining light of the distant pillar. Nathan's body contours awkwardly. He raises a dagger, aiming at his own heart. And I can do neither of these. Call mother, well, she's dead, so no. And I am not a man of theology, and Nathan is not. Oh, okay, well, the question I just asked before, if you can avoid this, I don't think you can. Because even if I would have had Nathan Brante at over 4 in relation as well as being a theological, this would still happen. So I vaguely think that this is actually an unavoidable event, most likely. Well, I can't do anything, so go on, Nathan. Take your life. You take a step back. The life that Nathan is about to take belongs to him. He is free to do with it as he pleases. May he finally find an end to his desperate search for meaning. Nathan whispers a word of gratitude, barely audible. Then a sharp exhale as he gets ready to strike. His hands guide the dagger awkwardly through the air and into his chest. The sharp tip reluctantly sinks into his flesh. A weak yelp escapes Nathan's throat. He staggers and falls, blood oozing out of the wound. Moments pass, and Nathan's body dissipates as his mortal frame dissolves. He has departed to commune with the twins. What awaits him in the hereafter? You pick up Father's dagger, carefully wipe it clean, and put it in the drawer of his desk where it belongs. When the skies begin to grow bright before the dawn, you go to the family crypt to welcome your brother back. Nathan is already there, lying atop the granite slab. Even made anew, his naked body is still just a thin, awkward, and feeble. He suddenly stands when he hears your footsteps. His eyes are shining with otherworldly light. I spoke to them, brother. I dared to address them as my soul rose up. I begged the twins for forgiveness, and they heard me. They did. And the elder, he reached out to me. He wanted to respond to me. I know he did. But the younger's sword stopped us. It cut the bond between us, and I fell. But I saw compassion in the elder's eyes as I fell, and he followed me. He shall descend to the lands again. He shall witness our suffering, and bring his mercy. And then the world will change at last. Your younger brother shivers, almost convulsing with cold. You wrap him in a black cloak. Together you turn home before sunrise, and no one in your family ever learns of Nathan's lesser death. Nathan stops wasting time in taverns with suspicious characters. He spends every day in ardent prayer. Again and again his quiet voice speaks of the elder's coming return. The family watches the drastic change in their wayward son with great surprise, and actually does get hopeful because of that. And indeed, he might become a little bit more religious, and does like me a little bit more from that as well. My willpower goes down, however, didn't foresee that, and apparently my theology goes up. Don't know why it would do that, but sure. Alright then, that was indeed the final thing of that year, so can I salvage this situation? Because what I've been thinking is, if I don't make it, even though I will try my damnedest to do it, if I don't make it to chapter 5, I will probably again replay chapter 4, but make a few more changes, let's just say, than just that one. I'll make possibly a few more changes with regards to Gloria, for example, because while I've tried to side with Gloria, it hasn't really done anything, I don't feel like. So if I can, you know, ignore her a little bit, maybe I'll do that. I don't know. We'll see exactly how I do that. Alright then, 11:45, storm on the horizon. For over a year now, Anisart has been steadily simmering with unrest, like a soup pot over a well-stoked flame. Commoners flock to the squares in droves. The mobs grow bolder, demanding new freedoms and protection under the law. While Astro insurgents commit brazen acts, hoping to overthrow the authorities. The noble gentry insisted that every mob be dispersed by force. They are ready to fight for their ancient privilege, sword in hand. In spite of this enormous pressure, Overseer Gaius Tempest remains highly reluctant to allow any bloodshed. But the common people are already too desperate. Even the age-old fear of the nobility's might is barely enough to keep them in check. More and more people are rejecting the lots and converting to the new faith, not to mention other stranger, more esoteric teachings and beliefs. New secret societies and clandestine gatherings appear every day. Printed pamphlets litter the streets. Yet no one is rushing to subdue the citizens or punish the city for now. Father Leonard has transformed the Temple of the Silver Tree into a new believer stronghold. He is no longer afraid to break the ban on preaching the new faith. His sermons now openly challenge the old faith. And he says, it seems the Church of the Twins is unable to recognize its great mistake. The lots must be abandoned as relics of the past. The Twins granted everyone the freedom to choose their own path in this world, and I will not stop until this freedom is recognized throughout the Empire. The next Patriarch of Margra must be chosen by the parish, not the clergy. This is the will of the Twins, and it must be ours as well. Leonard intends to amend the old order of the Church and become Patriarch. His opponents, however, are beset by internal struggle and strife. The Inquisition is fighting a myriad of heresies, more of which appear every day, and even the highest rank of the faith are free from suspicion. The new faith, meanwhile, is steadily growing in numbers. People no longer fear being damned to the foot of the pillar for rejecting the divine design. The streets are restless and dangerous. Minds and souls are beset by confusion. The authorities argue and bicker among themselves. Conspiracies plague the city. Time marches on and a change is coming. It cannot be stopped. Can you find a way to guide it in the right direction? The weight of a new age now rests upon your shoulders. So the church goes towards the new faith again. A bit of a shift in the balance. I really need at least one more point in justice, because without it, it's all over. Alright, family matter. For over a year now, Anisot has been slowly simmering with unrest. Yes, indeed. The feud between the states, between the old faith and the new, between the law of the empire and noble traditions, tensions are at an all-time high, waiting for the slightest spark to catch fire and burn. If your family's affairs have been affected by the growing unrest, it is during these troubled times that the future of your family will be decided. We're not going to be ennobled by the sword, that's not even going to be a thing. Father shakes you awake early in the morning. He is excited, clutching a letter bearing the imperial seal of the Tempest dynasty. And it says, "Wake up, son, come to the sitting room. A letter has come from the overseer Gaius Tempest." He gingerly breaks the seal and unfolds the missive. And Gaius Tempest writes, "To the Honorable Brante family. I, Gaius of the Tempest dynasty, overseer of the province of Margra, have given due consideration to your petition to have your bloodline ennobled by the sword. You are expected in 1 week at Castle Enery, as are all petitioners for the sword, where you shall hear my decision first hand." Oh, I don't want to go. Can I stay at home? After finishing the letter, father turns to you. He looks fatigued. And he says, "Well, son, it's time for us to be honest with each other about our family. What do you have to say about this? Where do we, the Brants, stand after so many years? What hopes do we have for the future of this family? The past 7 years have been marked by many life-changing events. The rare joys, the frequent fights, the arguments, the attempts at peace, the losses. Sometimes you have managed to change their minds and sometimes you have not. But your decisions have made you realize what matters most to you. The future of the Brant family must be decided here and now." Well, I can't. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I mean, that's... yeah. Nope. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. We have none of that. We can become members of the Overseer's entourage. Well, we can't, but I mean, we could have. If we would have had a glorious bloodline. What was that? What was a glorious bloodline? Just a bunch of reputation, basically. Yep. yeah, there we go. So we're gonna break up the family, apparently. Not even... Wow. I don't even have 3 in Unity. Alright then. Well, I'm gonna ride with it. You coldly point out that the family's chance for a hereditary title is long gone. And the family itself, why, it all but disintegrated years ago. You failed to quell the strife at home. You could not snuff the coals of enmity that slowly turned your family into disjointed clumps of ash. All attempts to put the family's affairs in order have led to naught. And now it is time to admit that the Brante family is no more. I mean, that's very harsh. just because you don't like the family, or rather there's enmity in the family, doesn't mean that the family has to break up and not be the Brante family. Who am I if I'm not a Brante? There is deep pain in father's eyes as he meets your gaze, but it does not argue. Which is why you continue. It would only be reasonable to sever what remains of your family ties. It is for your own good. You have all been strangers for a long time. You may live under the same roof, but you are no family. It is time to end these frantic attempts to find that which is already beyond repair. Nothing good will come of it. Father is silent. A long moment passes before he speaks. And he says, as much as it saddens me to say this, you're right, son. We failed. I failed as the family patriarch, and I failed my lot. I was chasing after a lofty position and neglected all the troubles in our family. I tried to please everyone, and I let everyone down. All I can say is that your grandfather was right about everything. You put your hand on father's shoulder. It is not his fault alone, you tell him. All of you made mistakes. You too bear a sizable share of the blame. To which he says, but I'm the patriarch, no matter what. I am responsible for this family. What a disgrace. What an embarrassment I am. Father hides his face in his hands. It takes him a while to stifle his silent sobs and muster enough strength to continue. But enough weakness. It is time to accept the inevitable. The family is gone. We must all seek our own fortunes. I will quit my post at the prefecture and leave Anisat. The city has grown far too unsettled as of late, but if any of you ever want to visit my home, my door will be open to you. You leave father alone with his grief in the sitting room. There is nothing you can do to help him now. You begin to pack your things. It is time to move out of the house that stopped being your home long ago. You will rent a lodging for now, and then you will see what comes next. A carriage awaits you at the gate. You take one last look at your parents' house, the place that was your home and shelter for so many years. Your childhood games in the garden, your loud, happy dinners, your quiet conversations on the porch, the warm embrace of your family. It is time to leave it all behind. Right. You offer your family no farewells as you depart. They are no longer a part of your life. From this day forward, you must fend for yourself. So, -2 Unity, -2 reputation, -2. No, actually, no, 0 to 0. Never. Yeah, we got -2 and everything. My willpower is shot as well. The family falls apart. Sure, that happened. It feels like I haven't played this chapter well at all. I mean, I started the chapter pretty damn good. Okay, smell of gunpowder. I have more than 7 justice and I made a deal with Mayor Egmont. Okay, is this something that we can do something with then? Let's hope it is. Oh, bloody hell. Also, by the way, a lot of bad things are happening. Families falls apart, branded by dishonor, mother dies, etc., etc. All of Anisat has been rocked by a gunpowder explosion. Its victims were Legion officers in charge of a punitive battalion. For some years now, they have been using force to collect the Archduke's taxes from villages that refuse to pay, but the Archduke revoked the tax. But is this like before that happened? Maybe. The common folk remember their cruelty well. Now the tables have turned. So basically allowing gunpowder made this happen. I could have avoided this, but I'll have to deal with it. A tavern called the Three Fallerai, the favorite drinking hole of the Legion officers, was blown up by a huge charge of gunpowder. Everyone in the tavern was killed. A number of people living in nearby homes were also injured. The reborn officers reported that they were blown up by an ordinary low-bone girl. Before lowering her torch to the fuse, the girl cried out, and now the nobles will pay for their crimes with their lives. The powder will make us all equals. Those were her last words. I assure you, I had nothing to do with this. The Legion has been brought to combat readiness. Commander Otton plans to punish the criminals' entire home district. But the nobles of Darius Otton are nervous. No military training, no armor can protect them from a sudden gunpowder explosion. The city remembers that you were the one who made gunpowder available for silver mining, but now barrels of gunpowder are somehow being delivered to rebels rather than the mines. Never before have the lowborn had such a dangerous weapon at their disposal. An order goes down quite a lot. But justice goes up to 10. Oh, please let me have the trial against Otton. Oh, please let me have that. Oh, I like that we get another one. Prisoners, because I'm now over 8 in justice and I made a deal with Mayor. Alright then, you walk down the cold steps to the prefecture dungeon. The damp air makes it hard to breathe. You were urgently summoned here after the explosion at the 3 Now it's a different name. Faleras. It was Faleras. Alright, whatever. The gendarmes have captured the perpetrator, a low-born girl. Soon the people from the secret chancellor will be there. Their institution handles riots and crimes against imperial authority. The worst of it is that the gunpowder is involved, and you were the one who succumbed to Mayor Eggman's entreaties and authorized the use of gunpowder in the silver mines. You need to get to the bottom of this before the secret chancellor comes to you, or after you. Behind the bars of the cell you see Alida Syrian, an unremarkable girl just like any other from the brass district. She glances up at you suspiciously from under her long bangs and chuckles. And she says, "Yeah, I blew him up. I'm not gonna deny it, let alone beg for mercy. I know nobles haven't got any anyway. My sister taught me that when she was hanged for making a peaceful speech. My taught me that when she was hanged for making a peaceful speech in the capital. You send the gendarmes away. You need to interrogate the culprit one-on-one. Having made sure you are alone, you ask Alida where she got the gunpowder. She smirks, looking at you defiantly. This is just the beginning. We're the last straw. We're going to destroy the old order, reduce it to nothing. We've got the weapons, we've got gunpowder, we aren't helpless anymore." You are interrupted by loud footsteps down the hall, accompanied by angry shouts. You have to hold your tongue. The gendarme pushes another prisoner into the adjacent cell. Your heart skips a beat when you recognize him. Mayor Eggman! Do you know who I am? I own half the mines in Magra. Judge Brante, your gendarmes dragged me here by force. Why did you just summon me? I'd have come on my own free will. The gendarmes unceremoniously lock the industrialist in the cell and report to you. This commoner is suspected of transferring gunpowder to the rebels. That was not our deal, sir. Alright then, you once again command the gendarmes to leave you alone with the conspirators. They lock the cells securely before leaving. You, Eggman, and the rebel Alida are alone in the cold semi-darkness. Eggman clutches the bars anxiously and says, "Now I see. I'm accused of orchestrating the explosion at the 3 Faleras. Come closer, Brante. Your life is in as much peril as mine." You take a step forward, approaching the bars. You feel the imprisoned industrialist's heavy breath on your face. And he says, "I'll cut right to the chase, Brante. Yes, with your help, we put the gunpowder to good use. We used it for a great cause, fighting for the rise of the lowborn. I armed the soldiers of the last straw, and I'm forming my own militia. The gunpowder finally forced the nobles to take us seriously. You betrayed me with that deal, did you? But I'm not a madman, and I'm not a butcher. The explosion in the tavern was just a way to demonstrate what we are capable of in case the Empire doesn't make any concessions. We're no longer just rabble that can be ordered about, and we achieved that in no small part thanks to your help, Judge Brante. Now the nobles will see that if we don't give us rights, we will have to take them by force." You look at the wealthy commoner in consternation. "So, you have unwittingly become part of his conspiracy." And he says, "Yes, I concealed some parts of my plan from you." What do you mean some parts? You concealed all the parts. I mean, except for the mines, but the bloody rest. But it was even safer for you. How could it have been safer? It would have come out and everyone knew I was the bloody... You're an idiot. You're clearly an idiot. Alright then, you continue to work as a judge and your fight for justice while we did our part. I just wish the last straw had worked a little more cleanly. You demand that Egmont tell you the nature of his connection to the last straw. And he says we made an alliance. The last straw are relentless fighters like this young lady here, and it's wonderful that there are people who are willing to make sacrifices for the greater good. Sadly, sometimes they leave too many clues behind. Our cause is just, says Alida. Egmont casts a disapproving sidelong glance at the rebel girl, then leans even closer and continues quietly. But explosions and bloodshed aren't my goal. I'm going to make Enesat the first city in the Empire where all citizens have equal rights, no matter what estate they're born to or what lot they have. Isn't that what you've been struggling to achieve all along, Brante? Yes it is. Do you think this is just some fantasy? We're one step away from taking power in the city and imposing our conditions on the Overseer and the Archduke. Time is running out. Soon the Secret Chancellery will take us and then our cause is doomed. Unfortunately, you'll go down with us, my friend. We're in this together, since you gave us the gunpowder. Let's not let that happen, not now, not when we're so close to sparking a genuine uprising. You don't betray your emotions to Egmont, your face is thoroughly concealed by the shadows. And he says, let us both out of the cage, me and the girl from the last straw. Help us escape. I'll make sure you're clear of any suspicion. It will seem like we broke out on our own. The Secret Chancellor will be busy hunting us down and they'll leave you alone. Meanwhile, we'll finish our preparations and strike first. You've already picked a side, Brante. Now's not the time to change it. Help me escape, and you'll be one of the heroes of the uprising, but if you betray me, you'll be one of the first victims. Hurry, and I don't have the willpower. Bloody crap. Oh, that's so bad. Because I trust him on this. I trust him. It's gonna be really bad for me. But I can't do anything. Finally, you let everyone see your face in the semi-darkness. You have had a sneer on your lips for quite some time. No, you are not going to go down because of Egmont's deception. You have your own plans in that regard. It's too late, you can't stop it, Brante, you fool! The uprising will make mincemeat of you if you don't come to your senses. History will be on our side. If I get -3 in justice from this, I'm gonna be so mad. Not listening to him, you turn around and swiftly go upstairs. Egmont's threats die out in the darkness. Doing your best to look composed, you walk up the stairs and announce that the interrogation is over. It is time to hand the prisoners over to the Secret Chancellery. Afterwards, you lock yourself in your office and go through all your papers in search of any evidence that could link you to Egmont. You burn all proof of your involvement in the unfortunate gunpowder affair, but this isn't all. You will have to go to other imperial institutions as well. Hopefully your connections will be enough to sever any threads leading back to you. You hear a knock at the door. Oh no. A familiar figure with a cane treads heavily into your office. Philippe Alfaro, the Secret Chancellor Advisor, carefully examines you. I can duel you again. Alright then. You again, Sir Brante. I just interrogated the captured insurgents. You break into cold sweat and do your best to maintain a calm facade. Alfaro looms over your desk, obstructing the light. So, there is no doubt that the explosion was the handiwork not only from the last straw, but also of Mayor Egmont, whom you know well. I was particularly curious to find out who was responsible for authorizing the use of gunpowder in his mines. He named you. I mean, I can stand behind that. That's absolutely no problem. Sort of. The advisor pauses and observes you. You look back at Sir Philippe dispassionately. The storm that is raging inside you must be contained. Suddenly, Philippe beams at you and shrugs. But you know, he says, I'd never take a commoner's word over that of a nobleman. And you are a true nobleman, aren't you, Brante? I mean, yeah. You lower your head modestly. So I thought. The noble art is not an easy one. Even the best of us make mistakes sometimes. But this is where a noble education comes into play. We nobles know how to fix our mistakes. You explain gravely that you had no idea that allowing the use of gunpowder in the mines would lead to this. You only wanted to ensure the prosperity of the province. I have no doubt about that. That's why you're going to do me a favor, for the sake of the province. Over the last few years, you worked hard to satisfy the claims and pleas of the commoners. but do you know how many of the many insurgents could have been among them? The Secret Chancellor will review these cases. I hope you do not mind if I take over your office for a while. You won't need it for the time being. This is not good, I don't think. By my authority, I hereby declare a state of emergency in the prefecture. It will remain in effect until we have dealt with the threat of an uprising. You may go now, take a break, and don't get involved. We'll call for you when we need you again. So does this mean that I can't actually be the judge in the case against Darius Otton? Because that might be bad. El Ferro installs himself in your chair and promptly begins going through your papers. He's no longer paying attention to you. You have no choice. You vacate your own office. Back home, well, wherever home is, you collapse into bed and sleep for a long time. Mayor Egmont is hanged before a huge crowd. The execution of a prominent advocate for commoners' rights infuriates them, but they are too frightened to take up arms. In addition, many say that Egmont only desired more power and profit for himself, not protection for the poor. Egmont's body is left hanging in the square in front of the city hall for a long time, as a reminder of the fate awaiting anyone who attempts to defy the imperial order. You spend the next month at home. The explosion allowed the Secret Chancellor to obtain special authority for the purpose of defeating the rebels. The gates of Anisot are locked. Citizens are commanded not to leave their homes without a good reason. The gendarmes, transferred temporarily under the command of the Secret Chancellery, prowl the city, searching houses and arresting suspicious individuals. The people they arrest usually disappear without a trace. Finally, a month later, the Secret Chancellor declares that the threat of rebellion has been eliminated. The gendarmes return to Elborn's command. For the first time in a long while, you go to the prefecture. Your office is hardly changed, although it is clear that it has been used daily. The inkwell is all but empty. A number of documents concerning your old cases have vanished from the drawers. You see small spots of dried blood on the carpet. Why? Who died? And obviously, well, he doesn't like me, but he's also dead. Power goes down and... I hate you, game. I hate you, game. So you just gave me a 3 and then you removed the 3. It's like, you're just tempting me and I have to do all the various things just because... Bloody hell. Alright then, final preparations. Carriage takes you further down this... Oh no, is this... Okay, well, we'll see if this is the case against Otton then. The carriage takes you further down the city's narrow streets. They are filled with noble carriages and commoners hurrying about their business, but the driver skillfully avoids them all. You watch the city uneasily from behind the carriage doors. The past few months have been so tense and challenging they felt like a single unbearable moment. You had to face one ordeal after another, and Otton's case sometimes fell by the wayside. But you have no doubt that the outcome of this case will determine your fate. Your previous encounters with the haughty commander have assured you of that. Okay, well, we'll see. The time to strike Otton down is coming soon. Right now, you need to make your final preparations. Your gut tells you that time is running out. Either you seize the initiative or Otton will destroy you himself. What should you focus on at this critical juncture? You consider your options, which is only one. It would be nice to do some of these. I am at the right level of justice. Wait. Yeah, 8 or below. But I don't have any willpower. I don't have any willpower, so I can't do any of these. You're already prepared. No, I'm not. Okay, so it actually is the case that we are going to have to replay chapter 14. You rub your hands together in satisfaction. Soon, very soon, Oliver will be the only one unaware of his inevitable downfall. No, he won't. Well, thank you for that. You tell the driver to take you home. You will take this time to rest up and regain your strength before the most trying challenge of your life. This is not gonna go well. So, well, I'll play this out, I suppose. We'll see what happens if you can to do anything. But then, yeah. You stand at the window of your office and watch the living streets below, exhausted. For over a year, and the thought has been steadily simmering with unrest like a soup pot over a well-stoked flame. The endless feud between the Archduke and the Overseer, the first trials against nobles, insurgencies flaring up all across the Empire, grim, heavy, dark red storm clouds now hang in the sky above Anisot. Preachers of the new faith fill the streets, urging the people to reject the lots. The abbot of the temple at the Silver Tree, Father Leonard, who has turned the city's most ancient church into a new believer's stronghold. Commoners flock the squares in droves, the mobs grow bolder and bolder as they demand new freedoms and protection under the law. Commoners have begun forming armed militias, the last straw insurgents commit brazen acts, hoping to overthrow the authorities. The nobles of the sword demand that every mob be dispersed by force. They are ready to fight for the ancient privileges, sword in hand. You cast a glance back at your desk, still covered with piles of paperwork for Otton's case. You have been working on it for over 2 years now. This case will have to reach a conclusion someday, but when? Will you be able to free yourself from the mortal peril into which it has drawn you? The fosse is interrupted by heavy footsteps and clacking hooves. The square in front of the prefecture quickly clears as workers and merchants do their best to flee. A legion battalion is advancing on the prefecture. It is led by Darius Otton on horseback and in full armor. He rides up to the steps. The square resounds with his commanding voice. He says, "I am Darius Otton, High Commander of this province, and I have come to demand justice. I have proof that a judge named Brante has been collecting slander for years, seeking to tarnish the Otton name. I have already warned this judge, and I will not stand idly by in the face of an insult. To accuse me is to undermine the rule of the Arcanians, our noble traditions, and the sacred order of the Empire itself. I demand that a stop be put to this campaign of defamation. I expect Judge Brante to burn his so-called case right now. Until that happens, my battalion is under orders to treat all those who serve at the prefecture as traitors to the crown. No one will leave this building until I see these vile accusations against an Arcanian dynasty burned to ash." Elborn comes rushing into your office. He is pale as a ghost, but trying his hardest to remain composed. "Chris, Otton caught us off guard. I knew we should have begun this trial much sooner. He has the upper hand now. No one will come to our aid. We must give Otton our reply." "It's all up to you now, Sir Brante. This is it, the moment of truth. How will you respond to Otton's ultimatum?" Without saying a word, you stare at the window again. The sky is dark and overcast, thunder echoing in the distance. The Legion soldiers stand still, awaiting new orders. Otton's horse is right by the stairs as he awaits your reply. The past several years flash before your eyes. Cases and verdicts, threats and promises, decisions and deeds. Where have they led you, your career, your province? How will you approach the task of rebuffing one of the mightiest Arcanians in the province? It will all be decided now, and basically yes. I can charge him, which sounds good. You respond to Otton by summoning him to trial. You wield the power of the law. You have enough evidence to indict even an Arcanian. What's the difference here? Okay, well, sounds good. That is what I should have had. Wait. Why is evidence against Otton not there? It's kind of weird. Bring Otton to the Court of Honor. No, we don't want to do that. Guy's Tempest. Ooh, we can have him be in on it. But a lot of stuff had to be true for that. Well, actually, there are two career situations. There are occupation situations there. I mean, I'm just gonna go for it. I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So the hour has come. You descend the stairs and walk to the door of the prefecture, ready to meet Otton face to face. You have worked hard to defend the rule of law within the province, and your efforts have borne fruit. Commoners, nobles, even Arcanians, all are now equal before the law. It is thanks to you that this change has taken root, both in and out of court. You have had to sacrifice your own career and your family's reputation. You have been intimidated and shunned by your peers. But now you will see this through to the very end. Otton is not just an noble Arcanian, he is the High Commander of the province, the right hand of Archduke Melanides, but he will stand trial nonetheless. Your evidence is overwhelming, and after the people hear of this, the court will have no choice but to find him guilty. You approach Otton and face him. He dismounts his horse, but clad in a full suit of ancient armor, the Arcanian is still a head taller than you. And he says, "Here you are at last, Brante. You obeyed me and came out. A wise choice. But where are all the papers you are to burn?" You stare down the High Commander and tell him that his case awaits him in the court of law, to which he has been summoned. You hereby accuse Darius Otton of murdering 19 servants of the Empire. The trial will begin 3 days hence, and is open to all citizens of Anisot. To which he replies, "You vile wretch, how dare you give orders to an Orkneyan? Or do you want me to round up the tally and make it 20? You do not even flinch at his words. Behind you, the pillars of the prefecture, the stronghold of law and justice, reach up for the sky. You notice people flocking to the square, taking heed of your voice. Have no fear, Judge Brante, they shout. Protect the judge. The commoners form a living wall between you and the furious Orkneyan warrior. Battalion, prepare for battle, disperse the mob, he says. But the Legion soldiers behind Otton are already faltering. The Legionnaires no longer wish to tolerate the murderer of their brothers in arms. The battalion captain stares at Otton, his eyes like daggers. Sheath your swords, he commands his men. About face, to the barracks, march. Abandoned, the Orkneyan look around in confusion, alone and armor-clad, like a painting of old brought to life. And he says, "Traitors, you dare call yourselves nobles? You will all pay for this, every last one of you, as will you, Brant, your low-born cronies, and your foul court." Otton leaps into the saddle and flees the square, booed by a resentful crowd. You let out a loud sigh. Only now do you realize how incredibly tense you felt. Elborn's hand comes to rest at your shoulder. "We won, Chris. Otton has already lost, whether he knows it or not. Prepare for the trial, Brant." I mean, you say that. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. The sky over Anisot splits apart, showering the dust-covered streets with long-awaited rain. Nothing comes from that. Damn it. No justice, apparently. Why no justice? I would have loved the justice. The day of the trial has come. The large prefecture courtroom is overcrowded. The gentry rarely, if ever, visits this place, to say nothing of the Orkneyan dynasties. But this is an unprecedented occasion. The man about to stand trial is an Orkneyan, one born to rule. Darius of the Otton dynasty, the High Commander of Margra, the Archduke's second-in-command. All of the elite provincial aristocracy is here today to show their support for Otton. You see Magistrate Verman among them, as well as many other nobles you haven't angered as a judge. The noblemen are restless, clutching uneasily at the hilts of their swords. Prefect Elborn presides over the trial. Gaius Tempest occupies the seat of honor next to him. The overseer's face remains coldly indifferent. Your time has come. You walk to the podium, step after step, the weight of their gaze is on your back. Thanks to your efforts, commoners and nobles must now face trial equally. Those born to rule have no choice but to submit to the justice system. Step by step. The future depends on what you are about to say. You begin the opening statement for the prosecution. First, you say that Sir Darius Otton, a high-born noble, has been found in violation of the Emperor's ban on dueling, with ample evidence to that effect. And Darius immediately chimes in. Enough of this. I've already wasted far too much time on this pathetic trial. So you want my money, eh, Judge? Very well, I'll pay all the fines. The Otton bloodline can afford them and more. But I was born into my lot, and that lot is to wage war and kill. Thus do I serve the divine design, and no one slow-born human is going to teach me how to live by my lot. In the sight of Gaius Tempest, a fellow nobleman born to rule, I demand an end to this disgraceful farce. May no Orkneyan ever be summoned again to this filthy courtroom fit for peasants and petty merchants. The stall grows silent. All eyes turn to the overseer. Gaius Tempest winces and knits his brow. He casts a glance over the nobles gathered in the courtroom, then nods for Elborn to continue. Gaius Tempest says, "In one sense, Sir Otton, you are correct. It truly is disgraceful to see an Orkneyan stoop so low that he must be brought before this court. The trial will continue. Sir Brant, please conclude your opening statement." Oh, Otton, poor man. You move on to the core of your accusation, speaking with such force that it shakes the stalls. Otton has not merely violated a dueling ban, he has taken lives of at least 19 of his subordinates, all loyal servants of the Emperor. This is murder. It is an act of sabotage against the Legion. It is treason against the Emperor himself. You speak this last word right in Otton's face. All the grumbling voices from the stalls immediately grow quiet. The High Commander turns pale with fury and says, "Gaius Tempest, you are an overseer. You hail from the Emperor's own bloodline. Are you going to allow this unprincipled human scum to decide an Orkneyan's fate? Why, this is nothing more than a bid to seize power, the very power that has flowed through our veins since the Empire was founded." Well, I mean, I gotta say, his defense is not good. His defense is not, I didn't do it, or that's alright. No, his defense is that I'm a human. I gotta be honest, not the strongest defense. Gaius Tempest, though, rises from his seat, his calm countenance twisted with rage. The Imperial Court of Justice is that very power. Muffled gasps and quiet cries echo from the stalls. The High Commander grits his teeth and stares defiantly at Gaius Tempest. Then you are the traitor here, your grace, he says. You are the one who has betrayed the province, nay, the entire empire, by condemning us to the mercy of the humans and their lowly dishonorable law. Archduke Melanidas is the only one who still remembers his honor as an Archon and a noble, and justice is on his side. I say this before the entire aristocracy of Anisot. The nobles and the stalls who have come to stand with Otton recoil in terror. His supporters retreat further into the recesses of the courtroom. And Gaius goes, "You are mad, Otton. Be quiet, or I shall silence you permanently. Proceed with the verdict, prefect." Elborn exchanges a meaningful glance with you and ascends to the podium and says, "Darius Otton, for violating the ban on dueling, manslaughter of imperial servants, and treason against Overseer Gaius Tempest, this court hereby deprives you of your sword and sentence you to eternal exile from the province of Magra." Otton stands still, unmoving, unflinching. The gendarmes cautiously approach the Archon to take his sword. Otton suddenly draws the blade himself and hands it to the officer of the court. Otton's sword comes to rest in your hands. The entire courtroom watches you, holding its breath. Raising your old nemesis weapon above your head, you turn to face the courtroom. You snap Otton's blade in half. The venerable old steel shatters with a ringing sound, reduced to pathetic broken fragments. Blood trickles down your arms, but you do not notice the pain. Otton's eyes are dead and empty as he stares at you. He staggers to his feet, stumbles out the door, and walks away. The steps echo loudly in the deafening silence of the courtroom. Darius Otton, once High Commander of Magra, has been stripped of his sword and banished to exile. Your bloodied hands clutch the verdict. Your bloodied hands still clutch the verdict. Today marks a precedent like the likes of which the Empire has never seen. The old ways will never be the same. Thanks to you, change has been put in motion today. There is no stopping it now. And, well, yes, he doesn't like me, would you know. Wealth of Magra for some reason goes up, and order moves towards triumph of the law, which is good. So does this mean... yeah. Oh, wait. So did I not understand this one, then? Did I not understand this one? Because I thought it was a requisite of 9, but with the evidence an 8, but maybe I actually got by with 7. Either way, I did it. I did not think that I would pull that through, but I did pull it through. Oh, bloody hell. I mean, the Brante family is no more, but I have survived. I managed to get Otton sentenced. I did not think that that would happen, but it did. That feels good. I mean, all of the branded by dishonor, family falls apart, etc., etc. Bloody hell. Peaceful years are over. The storm of the revolt is brewing in Anisot. Tomorrow will be the day when you will reap the harvest of all your deeds during these 8 years. And would you know it, pretty damn good point in time to end the episode. So we are getting a chapter 5. I don't have to replay chapter 4. My choices still stands. I only had to change one thing in the end. And as the game said itself, I have sacrificed a lot for this. Like, the commoners should be bloody happy by what I have done here. So in the next episode, we unlock the final thing, which is going to be interesting. And how will my role be here? It is still true that I am on my last death. I am going to have to try and avoid any situation where I can die. I am, however, at 20 in Valor. I am very sure that I still haven't done any extraordinary deed based on this, so that might come indeed in the final chapter, possibly. I suppose we'll see in the next chapter. I'm not gonna say that's the last episode. I'm gonna assume that there are 2 or 3 episodes left, even though I think the final chapter is a bit shorter. But we'll see what the last chapter actually entails, and we'll see that in the beginning of the next episode. For now though, this has been ghostmutgaming with me, Christopher. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.